This is a DMB Society podcast.
I got a sister named Jane.
And this is the pod that Jane likes. Hey everybody, welcome back to the pod that Jane likes. Surprise, this is part 4 of our 2025 Gorge recap series, and we wanted to save the best for last because despite Before These Crowded Streets being played front to back and Bela Fleck in the Flecktone sitting in on an epic number 41, the biggest pop of the weekend came night 3 when the entire Gorge Amphitheater was chanting, "Sign him up." And of course, we are talking about the man on the violin, Jake Renick Simpson, who put on some of the most epic violin playing that we haven't seen in these parts for quite a long time. And Jake joins us now. Jake, welcome to the pod that Jane likes, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk about this this amazing Gorge weekend.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was crazy, wasn't it? That was
Yes, it was.
It was.
That's the first time for a lot of things.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Right.
And so if you're just tuning in, you don't know anything about Jake. He plays about 1 million different instruments, but most notably fiddle and guitar in Lukas Nelson's band. He's also a big part of the Bluegrass band, the Little Smokies, and even released his first album of fiddle music at 11 years old. And as I said, Jake found himself on stage with DMB at the Gorge for all 3 nights, as well as a few weeks prior in Big Sky, Montana with Dave and some other friends. So, Jake, let's jump right into it. I have to ask, what is one word that you would use to describe the Gorge this year?
Interstellar.
All right.
Oh, that's a good one.
I like it.
Ooh. That actually describes a lot of how you made us feel, like kind of shooting out.
100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
there were just so many times where I was literally like, had my hand in my pocket. I'm like pinching myself on the leg. Like, is this real? You know, I mean, it just, I don't know. It definitely, I guess, I don't want to say it felt unreal, because it felt the most real, you know. It just, growing up and listening to Dave and kind of, you know, my whole music career, like there has sort of been a part of me that thought like, okay, someday I might meet Dave and I might get to play with him. And so to say that it was unreal is like not 100% the way that I feel. I guess it's more like I felt like everything was finally coming together, you know.
Wow.
And yeah, it was so cool. But yeah, Interstellar is definitely felt like I was in outer space there for a little bit.
I love that. Speaking of Interstellar and pinching yourself, I actually celebrated my 300th Dave Matthews Band show. Night 1
Congratulations.
Thank you. Night 1 at the Gorge. And my favorite song ever is Lie in Our Graves. So when you stepped out on stage and the chords of Lie in Our Graves started, I was thrilled that I was about to hear a violin on Lie in Our Graves again. Can you tell us a little bit about how, now we know you played it at Big Sky with Dave, but what was it like playing it full band and in front of this magnificent amount of people?
Well, you know, we didn't practice, and I had played it with Dave in Big Sky, and I'm pretty comfortable with the song, but I mean, I had never played in front of that many people in one place before, and so that was on my mind, you know. And I typically don't get too nervous, but I did get a little palpitation in my chest.
I bet.
So I was sort of sitting over on the side of the stage and just watching the guys play, and that comforted me. You know, just watching those guys be badasses was like, you know, really getting me in the zone. So, but yeah, the first time I ever played that song with the guys was that night, and
right.
The first notes that we played, I was a little like All right. If I can just play the first two notes of this song, then I'll make it. And so yeah, I was a little nervous, walked out, but Lie in Our Graves is one of those songs that I really am like I've known it for a long time, and I think that might be one of the reasons that Dave picked that one, is because we had played it together, he and I,
Right.
before. But I mean, it was just beautiful, you know, and it also helped that like every time I would look up, Dave was like looking at me. If he wasn't singing, he was looking at me, and he was smiling, you know. So I was like, okay, it's fine.
That's awesome.
As long as Dave is smiling, everything's fine.
Right.
So,
And did you know before you got to the Gorge that you were going to be playing Lie in Our Graves again? Like, had you prepared for it? Had you like listened to live versions or studio versions? Like, how did you prepare?
Yeah. So Dave sent me a list of songs that we might play, and he said that we'll probably play these songs. I think he sent me 5 or 6 songs. He's like, we'll play a couple songs each night, and then we ended up playing. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. I wish I had my set list sitting in front of me. But, I saved all the set lists.
Awesome.
And Dave wrote me a little note on one of them.
Oh, love it.
Oh, so cool.
Oh,
Actually,
he did.
I mean, can I?
Yes, go.
Yeah,
Yes,
go
go
get
get
it.
it.
We got to see that.
I think I know right where it is. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
this is
awesome.
what we want.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. What does it say?
I know. Me and Sean got ones too, but ain't that cool?
Yeah,
There was. Oh, you mean there wasn't a
No.
personalized note from Dave?
Not on ours,
Yeah.
no.
I actually asked Aaron if he would customize it, and he laughed and
Yeah.
walked away. So
You asked Aaron to draw a picture for you.
yeah.
That's funny.
I don't know where they are. My fiance and I we're moving into a new house, and so we've been shuffling things around.
Wow.
So
Well, congratulations! If you can send it to us later, that would be. We'd love to.
Yeah,
see
just
it.
this.
yeah, I will. But anyway, preparing for just the weekend. You know, Dave sent me a text the Sunday before, and
Casual.
he sent me, super casual. He said, "Are you doing any? Do you have any plans next weekend?" You know, and of course, like I knew what was going on,
Right.
and I was like, "You mean Labor Day weekend? Is that what you're talking about?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, if you don't have any plans, we're playing some shows in Washington, and we'd love for you to join us." And so anyway, he sent me a handful of songs, and I was playing along with some live shows. I played along with some recent live shows just so that I could, make sure I knew the arrangements that they were playing now, because
Right.
I know they make some changes here and there from time to time. And then I went back and played along with a couple live shows with Boyd, and I just wanted to do my best to try and emulate some of those parts that Boyd wrote, and just do them justice as best as I could. But specifically for Lie in Our Graves, like, to be honest, like, I was trying not to listen to it too much, and I kind of took that approach for like the songs that Dave sent me. I just tried not to listen to them too much, because I wanted to be able to sort of hint at Boyd's parts as much as possible, but also not play them exactly. I just think that's cooler. I think
Absolutely.
it's cool to.
It was very clear that you were intentional about that, and I think we all really appreciated that. It felt familiar, but at the same time,
Right.
it felt so new and exciting and different, and so that approach was top notch. I mean, that was one of the highlights for me.
Well, thank you. I took it very seriously, and I've been a massive Dave fan for a long time. So I was just kind of thinking, like, if I were in the crowd and some hobo got up there and was slapping away at the fiddle parts, what would I want it to sound like? So I did my best.
Speaking of the arrangements of everything, Jake, we've seen in the last couple of years a couple of other fiddle players that have come up and played, and oftentimes it's pretty verbatim to what the studio track is like.
Yeah.
And you talked about the importance to you about putting your own spin on things, and we as the audience picked up on that pretty quickly and really appreciated the effort that went into that. What is that process like, though, from the standpoint of when you are in conversation about what you're going to play? Is there any guidance in terms of how Dave and the band wants these things played, or is it kind of all on you to do whatever you want with the music?
Yeah, we didn't really talk about it too much. When I met Dave in Big Sky, the first night we played like 4 songs, I think. As a band, Lucas's band, we played, I think it was 4 songs with Dave, and Molly Tuttle came out and played a little bit too. And Dave had sent us a list of songs a few weeks before, and so everybody in the band was doing their homework and listening, and so that was like the most preparation out of like all of the stuff with Dave. I had the most time to prepare with the full band stuff. And then I met Dave later on that night after the first show in Big Sky, and we were talking, and he's like, you and me. He's like, we're gonna play, just you and me.
Wow.
And so then he told me we were gonna play "Lie in Our Graves." Actually, I think that might have been the next day. Whenever I showed up for sound check, he told me, I think we're going to do "Lie in Our Graves. Are you cool with that?" And I was like, yeah, that's great. Let's do "Lie in Our Graves." And he's like, okay, we'll come to my trailer after a while and we'll practice a little bit, So I went to his trailer and we played through "Lie in Our Graves." And then he just went right into Warehouse. Like, he just didn't even stop. He just went right into Warehouse, and I knew the part, and so he just was smiling. I was playing the pizzicato part on kind of the,
right.
And he just laughed, and he's like, okay, that's enough. He's like, we're not practicing anymore, and I love that. Like, one of my favorite things about music is like improvisation and being able to play with someone that I've never played with before. And I almost like it if I've never heard the song, because it's a whole different experience, than like standing up there and just playing a part. So the really sweet thing about Dave's music is there are those really cool parts that Boyd wrote, and then they jam, so there's
Right.
lots of room to add your own flavor and improvise. So yeah, as far as like preparation goes, I was trying to be very conscious about it, about learning the parts that are important and then not listening too much, so that it would be fresh,
That I can't even imagine what that must be like when Dave says, "Oh, yeah, we're just gonna play, just you and I. Just come to head over to my trailer." So you're just like, walking and then knocking on the door. Hey, how's it going? How's your afternoon? Like, I can't even comprehend that in my mind.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So one other follow up on your playing. I know you have a bluegrass background. Is that what you would call it? And what is that? Do you have to amend your approach from bluegrass to this kind of fusion music, or is it just natural? Does it just flow out of you?
Well, so yeah, I mean, in the most recent past, I've been playing with the Little Smokies, right before I joined Lucas's band, and there was a lot of improvisation going on there. We were always, having this conversation internally, like, are we a jam band or are we not a jam band? And which was funny because we lived in this scene with bands like Green Sky Bluegrass and the infamous String Dusters. And those guys, like, it's kind of similar to Dave's music. It's like there's a melodic part that you play that everybody knows. That's the hook, and at some point we're probably going to play some solos, and those are going to be all improvised. And there was a period in the Little Smokies career where you know, we were all saying, well, at least I was saying, like, we want to be a rock band. Like, we want to be a rock band that doesn't have a drummer, you know? And so the way that Andy, our lead singer, would write songs, you know, it wasn't like traditional bluegrass. And it was like, I was the most free in that band to do whatever I wanted to do. And you know, I grew up taking classical lessons, and then I started playing country music, and then the bluegrass thing came along, and then I went to a fiddle camp in Colorado where they had teachers that were teaching Irish music and Scottish music and Cape Breton style fiddling and jazz, and even some rock and roll stuff, you know, just like some of the. So I sort of took on the role in my band, at least in my mind, the way that I perceived my role in the Smokies was like the lead guitar player, but just with a fiddle, you know. And so a lot of the stuff we played, like we would play cover songs in the Smokies that were, you know, 80s, 90s, like rock, some 70s, like rock covers. And yeah, a lot of our stuff was kind of poppy sounding. So I don't know. The fiddle is a funny one because you can do one thing and everyone's like, that's too country. You know, you could like play one little slide or like one little double stop too many. And for anybody that doesn't know, double stop is when you play two notes at once on the fiddle. And people are like, well, that's too country. And I actually, I played on one of my favorite songwriters. I said I played on his album. I got asked to come record with one of my favorite songwriters. This was years ago. And the album came out and I wasn't on it, you know, and I was like, oh, what did I do? You know, and the producer was like, I think you sounded a little too country, you know. So I've heard that before, but the violin is such a versatile instrument that you know, in a rock band setting, it can be really cool, and that's what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to play in a rock band, you know, on the fiddle. And so to me, it was the most natural to play with Dave. Like I think subconsciously I've, you know, I maybe more than subconsciously I've wanted to play with Dave. And it wasn't just because like, oh my God, he's my hero, but it was because like that's the type of band that if I had a band, I would want it to sound similar, you know, to the Dave Matthews Band. And so yeah, I'm sorry, I don't remember verbatim what your original question was, but
well, you answered it. I just asked if you had to amend your bluegrass influences, but it sounds like it's more than that. It sounds like you were perfectly prepared for this by all of these other things that you did. So that's great.
I also love that you brought up rock and roll and covers because the Smokies cover of "Going to California" is like chef's kiss. So
thanks. It's really fast. I listened to that recording and I'm like, holy cow, we were either nervous or excited or something else.
If we could rewind the clock just a little bit, Jake, to your time with Dave in Big Sky. So our understanding was that Lukas made that original introduction. I guess I'm a little curious about how that original introduction happened. And then what was it like at the end of Big Sky? Was there, I know you said you got a text from Dave asking about what Labor Day weekend looked like, but were there any plans, any discussions about getting together in the future, or was everything just kind of happening in the moment?
Yeah. So, you know, initially Lukas introduced me to Dave, and I think Lukas was nervous I was going to
fanboy out.
He was like, dude, just please be cool, you know, just like, don't be weird. And so he introduced me to Dave, and then, you know, we played those that first night, and I had kind of been, you know, talking to some of the crew members because at Lukas's sound check, I was playing my guitar and I played a little bit of Cornbread, and Craig and some of the crew guys were standing over in Guitar World, you know, and they're like, yo, like when they heard me.
They know that one.
Yeah. So then I got off stage, and Craig was so nice. He told me I could play any of the guitars I wanted to play. And so I sat down and he started like tuning guitars, and he would hand me one and I would play it. And
Oh man.
and he was telling me all the different stories about all the guitars and why he plays this guitar on this song. And so while I was sitting there, like Sanjay came over, I don't know if you guys know Sanjay, the photographer.
Yeah.
And he like took a couple pictures, and then I stood up and he started talking to me and was asking me, he's like, you obviously know some Dave songs, are you a fan? And I was like, yeah, I've been a big fan for a long time. And so we just started talking, and then I think word got around to Dave, and so that first night after we played, Dave came over to me. There was like a big crowd of people standing around at the end of the night, and he walked through the crowd. He's so tall, and I saw him coming, and I was like, oh man, what's going on now? And so he came over and he was like, I hear you got a story to tell me. And yeah, I just, I don't know. I couldn't, I have a tendency to get emotional if the setting is right. And I did, and I couldn't tell him just the very simple story of how I started listening to him. And, but he was so cool. He just, we kind of like took a couple steps away from everyone, and he just started telling me all these stories about how he met people that were influential in his life and in the music realm. And then that's when he was like, all right, man, you and me tomorrow, like we're gonna play, just you and me. And I was just like, oh, thanks, Dave.
I'm gonna cry right now. That's so sweet.
Yeah. And so then, the next night, I told you we rehearsed a little bit, and then we played. And Dave invited us, the whole band, over to they had an after party because Dave had his whole family there, and they had this big after party at a sushi restaurant. They had it all rented out, and we went over there, and I was standing with my steel guitar player Dakota, and we were talking to Molly Tuttle, and then Dave kind of walked up and he's like, well, I guess I should get your phone number, And I was like, okay, And so he looked at his phone and he was like, you do it. So he handed me his phone, and I put my number in, and I just text myself, this is Dave Matthews.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
And then we did a sake bomb after that. And,
oh my God, amazing.
And then we had to leave. Then it was like bus call was like pretty shortly after that. So we literally did a sake bomb with Dave and hit the road. And then he texted me a little bit that night, and he sent me some really cool. He sent me some really cool stuff, and I sent it to my buddies that like I've been friends with since elementary school that are huge Dave Matthews fans. So I'm like sending them screenshots of my text conversation with Dave. But wow, I thought. It crossed my mind. I try not to have too many expectations anymore, because I feel like I have been burned a lot in my life where I've met someone and they've been really excited, and I won't mention any names or anything, but like someone told me like, I want you in my band, and this was years and years and years ago, and it was a really big name artist, and they're like, here's my guitar player's phone number. You guys are going to work it out, and you're going to come and play with us. And I was like, holy cow, my life has changed, and then that never happened. And so I sort of learned a lesson in that moment. Like, just go with the flow, and whatever happens, happens. So I had it in my mind that maybe that might be the last time I ever talked to Dave, because like, I didn't want to, I don't want to get my hopes up. And so it crossed my mind that maybe I might go to the Gorge, because so many people were like, dude, we got to get you to the Gorge. And, but then, a week before, I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't expecting to be there. So we didn't really talk about that at all. I had messaged him about one of his guitars, because I would really like to get a baritone electric guitar, and Dave's are sick. He's got this Dan Electro. He has two matching Dan Electro baritones, which are pretty rare. So I was asking him some questions about that, but that's all we really talked about. And then I'm standing in a museum in Montana on Sunday, and I get this text, and my fiance is like, "You're shaking. What's going on?" I was like, "Well, read." And yeah, he's just like, "What are you doing next weekend?" And so
Incredible.
yeah.
Wow.
I still can't. I still can't
I-
get over you playing Dave's guitar. Like I'm stuck on that. Craig tuning up these guitars for you and just letting you go crazy. I mean, like that is for any like nerd DMB fan, like most of us. I mean, that's like that. I again can't even fathom
Well,
being
I'll
able
give
to do
you.
that. You know.
I'll give you a little insider information that I don't think I will get in trouble for. uh, Craig was telling me all about all the guitars, and Dave's 12 string that he plays a lot is actually an 11 string. Because for years, I guess they couldn't get it in tune, and they were trying different things, and Craig figured out. Craig is a guitar wizard, and that's Dave's guitar tech.
Yep.
And I know you guys probably all know.
Yeah.
But, he just told me, he was like, I was like, man, it's this one set of strings that won't stay in tune. So they took a G string off, and now it stays in tune. So it's an 11 string.
Wow.
It's an 11 string, 12 string.
Wow.
And I think he plays that on. I think he plays that on Gray Street, and yeah.
Wow.
But and then his regular 6-string guitar, the Rockbridge, the action is like that tall. It's so tall. So that's because like he has to play so hard with the band, with the full band.
Get it to pop. Yeah.
So the action is like you got to be a strong dude to play that guitar.
Wow.
And so it was cool getting to just like some insight, and then Stay or Leave is played on that short scale. It's like a 12 fret. Dave doesn't like to play with a capo on,
Right.
and if you're not a guitar nerd, you know that the capo just raises the pitch as you put it on up the neck. And so instead of having to put a capo on, they just built him a guitar that is already in that register, and that's the guitar he plays on Stay or Leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was some stuff that especially the boys are going to geek out about for.
I was gonna say I'm keeping my mouth shut because we would go on for an hour just about that.
I mean, I'm stuck on a lot before I get to my next question. Like, oh, and then Dave walked up to me and said I should probably get your number, and then he texted me all night. I mean, like, just that whole story is amazing. But we just dropped 3 episodes about the Gorge, one for each night. There was so much to gush about. We gushed about our favorite moments. For me, what you did to that warehouse intro was so, it's just nothing I ever really heard before. It was so haunting. I don't even know if you knew how haunting it was or if you listened back and how different it was, but that was such an incredible, I'm still thinking about it. I probably have listened to it on my phone every day since. So just so you know that, but we have a lot of favorite moments, and we definitely want to ask you, like, what was your favorite moment of the Gorge Weekend?
Oh man. I mean, I don't know. Like, to pick one moment would be really, really, really hard. But I mean, I think my favorite thing about the weekend was just how welcoming the band and crew and family and friends, like just and fans. Like,
Yeah.
I really felt so welcome. And I've been in situations before, where I like sat in with someone or whatever, and maybe didn't feel that way just for whatever reason. It's a hard thing to come into someone's world. There's like, as touring musicians, like we can get really protective of our space, and I think it's because a lot of us have had similar experiences where you have somebody come in and completely wreck something, and everybody always has their own motives, and you don't know what they are. And so, like, I went in just hoping that I wouldn't I wouldn't ruffle anyone's feathers or step on anyone's toes. I just felt so welcome by everyone. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have to maybe not get too far into that because that's one of those things that we'll just be sitting here. I'll be looking for Kleenexes, but
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to get you emotional.
But
It's probably because something's very different about you. We all feel it from a fan perspective. Just something's different. I mean, think about it. Dave could have just said to management or something like, "Hey, get Jake to the Gorge," but it was like something so personal. You sound. Something's been just very like Sean said. We've seen other violinists come guest, but there was just something very different about you. So I'm glad that you felt that. Did you have any on-stage moment where you're like, "This is the shit"?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of which song it was. I mean, I think it was "Lie in Our Graves," but I was sort of at the pinnacle of my solo. I was like, "All right, I'm going for it. I'm going to leave it all on the stage," you know. And it was like I just started to go into like, you know, the biggest part of my solo, and Carter just goes, "Ga, ga, 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 ga," just like starts, you know, doing the the thing that I've heard a million times, and I just went into outer space. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's surreal. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's really cool about Lie in Our Graves, I don't know if you're familiar. This is getting a little bit nerdy, but there's a person in the community, Chester Copperpot, who makes these fan edit videos, and he has done, I don't know, probably hundreds of these over the years, but over the past 2 or 3 years, it's been few and far between what he's done. And this was, I think, the only, Sean, is it the only time he did anything this year was for Lie in Our Graves on that on night one with your performance?
Yeah, internally we were all really excited about that Graves, but then we were extra excited because now all of a sudden there's this video from this guy who used to do these videos all the time. I think it just goes to show that's how big of a moment. I understand. Obviously, it was that way for you, but it was like that for the 20,000 of us that were on the other side of that stage too, just losing our minds over it.
So how do I see this video? What is it?
Well, it's the account on YouTube is Chester Copperpot 5, and you'll see there's all sorts of it goes back a long time, and he's also a great follow on Instagram. Shout out Chester Copperpot if you're listening, and he also will unearth like old DMB footage, just like he'll find something that was never released and just put it out there into the world, and it's pretty incredible what he does.
Cool.
Yeah, and the account as a whole, what's so fun about it is he'll take for example, that night one performance was on Sirius XM, so he'll pull that audio and then kind of weave it together with all of these different angles of fans filming it. So you're getting, the best audio that at least we have access to. But Matt's right. We, for so many years, the biggest DMB moments would get this treatment. It kind of went away for a while, but people were so excited about what you were bringing to the band. It just kind of felt like it resurrected this account, for example, which had been dormant for over a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. That sounds awesome.
Awesome. One last question. Was there, when you weren't on stage, were you like able to be a fan? Were you like watching the show?
Yeah. I actually, the first night I was just kind of like all over the place. Just, I don't know. I guess I was anxious. I hate to admit it, but so I didn't get to watch a ton the first night, but then the second night, like I had a little insider information. I knew what was happening beforehand. And so I was just kind of watching the crowd and seeing how long it would take people to figure out. Like with the crew, like all the crew, you could see people like the crew members looking around, just kind of watching to see. And every now and then someone would be like, like, oh, they got it, so that was fun. And then the last night was when I really got to sit down, and I watched like most of the set from side stage. I had some headphones on,
cool,
and so I could hear the band mix, and yeah, I mean, just watch those guys kick ass, you know.
Yeah.
They're so good. And I had only seen the band live one other time. I saw them in like 2000 and I want to say it was like 2015 or 16. I saw them at what is the name of the place? It's in Colorado. Fiddler's Green.
Yep.
Yeah. In Colorado, and Bela opened actually. And so yeah, I mean, I was just in heaven over there, and I forget which night it was. I guess it was night 2. They did Halloween, and it scared the shit out of me. Can I say shit? I had been sitting watching, and you know, I had my headphones in, and it's completely different. Like, you know, it's not as loud with the headphones on, but you can hear everything better. So I was sitting there enjoying the show, and then I was going to go practice. So I took my headphones off, and it was in between songs. I wasn't paying attention to the set list at the time. I walk over, and like my fiddle was kind of like, if Carter's sitting here, it was kind of over just right behind him backstage. And so I went over, and I just picked up my fiddle, and they went into Halloween, and I just like almost threw my fiddle in the air. You know? But yeah, I did get to watch, and it was incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked a lot about the Gorge. Let's rewind a little bit. We know you've been playing fiddle since a young age, and we talked about you releasing an album at 11. But we would love to hear more about how you got linked up with Lukas Nelson to, you know, make this all happen.
Yeah. Well, it's I'll give you the condensed version because it's a long story. But I'd been playing with the Little Smokies since 2016, and we actually just released a new album in April of this year. But during the pandemic, we had 2 guys decide that they wanted to stay home. You know, they didn't want to tour anymore, and 3 of us, Andy, the lead singer, and our guitar player, Matthew Rieger, we decided we were going to keep doing it, you know. So it kind of took a while to find guys that were going to stick around, you know, as replacements. And after the pandemic, we didn't bounce back as quickly as we had hoped. You know, before the pandemic, we had some decent success, and we were just, you know, working a lot. And people were coming to shows and everything. Life was good. And then after the fact, you know, it just was like one thing after another. It was like a boxing match where you're just getting your ass handed to you. And so at some point, you know, the amount of joy that we were experiencing on the road as the Smokies was kind of dwindling, you know, and it was mostly, I mean, I don't want to blame it on one thing more than another, but we just couldn't get it going, you know. And so we were about to go on this big tour and, you know, release this album, and my buddy, who is one of my best friends in the world, Andy, called me. I was at my daughter's softball game, and he called me and basically was like, I can't do this, you know. And I was like, cool, you know, I get it. So I immediately started looking for jobs, like driving delivery for like Amazon, or I was just looking for anything, you know. My fiance and I were trying to buy a house, and so I had a brief moment of I wouldn't say panic. I didn't feel panicked, but I definitely knew that I needed to figure something out. So I started looking for jobs, and then just out of the blue, like 4 or 5 days after Andy called me, you know, I got this text message from Lukas's manager, Katie, and she's like, we're putting together a new band for Lukas Nelson. Are you available? Are you interested? And I was like,
wow,
you know.
awesome.
So I sent in some audition videos, and that was on a Friday, and Lukas called me on Saturday, and that was that. You know, the Smokies, we ended up playing 3 shows that were going to be the first 3 shows of that tour. We played them without Andy. We got a guy to come play dobro and we ended up playing 3 shows. We're supposed to be on tour for like 5 weeks, but we just played those first 3 shows. And I told my buddies like, hey, I got another gig, and so immediately when I got home from playing those shows, I just started. Actually, before I even left to go play those shows, I was learning Lukas's songs, and that's all I did. I mean, for a little bit. I was also moving out of my apartment, and we didn't have this house yet, so I had to move all my stuff into storage. And then we moved my fiance from Montana to Oklahoma.
Wow.
And I signed my papers to buy this house in Willie Nelson's studio in Austin.
Not bad.
That's
Yeah,
yeah,
Not
not,
bad.
not bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I didn't see my house for like a month after that. So it's been a crazy summer, and it's just kind of been like one thing after the other.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet. Give us a little more insight into touring with Lukas. Like, what is it like being in a touring band like that? What's the day-to-day like?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's honestly the best musical experience I've ever had. I've always wanted to tour on a bus, and this is the first time I'm like in a band touring on a bus. I've toured
Right.
on a bus, but as a fill-in,
Mm.
and it's so fun. I mean, it's like the guys. I am so thankful that everyone just gets along really well, and it's kind of like a college dorm on there, and we're all in our 30s. Well, a couple of the guys are still in their 20s, but most of us are like reliving. Well, I never went to college, so but we just like we play the show, and everyone's like, all right, let's get on the bus and play Xbox, so
That sounds right.
it's ridiculous.
sounds great.
We're just like eating snacks, or all just we make bus nachos like every other night, and it's so fun. And Lukas is a rad human being. He's just a stellar dude, he's fun to work for, and just so fun to play music with. He's so talented. And one thing about the Smokies, which I don't know if it's better or worse, but it was like a democracy, where everybody sort of has say in everything, and that has its ups and downs. And now I'm in a band where Lukas is the boss, and he's calling the shots, and it's so nice. Like, it's such a breath of fresh air to just be like, yes, whatever you want, man, and I feel like that's kind of the attitude for everybody in the band. It's like, yeah, Lukas wants a song to be this one particular way, then we're gonna do that, and we're gonna crush it. And it's so fun. It's like everybody's on the same page, and yeah, touring on a bus is cool. I love my little coffin of a bed. I got an AC vent right by my head, and a phone charger right there. And
What else do you need? What
Perfect.
else do you
Right.
need?
And bus nachos. You got it
Yeah,
all.
we
bus
also
nachos.
eat nachos after every show. So,
Nice. Well, if you guys ever come to a Lukas show, maybe we can sneak on the bus and make some nachos.
Oh, I would
Oh,
love
yeah.
That would be
that.
fun.
Do it.
I got to see Lukas last year. I was so blown away. It was my first time. I mean, he's really, really a talent.
Yeah, he's
but
something.
Yeah.
so you're recently engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I admit, I saw the ring you had created, and I'm like, wow, that is gorgeous. And I actually think your fiance makes jewelry too, and she has an
does.
Instagram, Andisa Studio.
Yeah, and
ANDISA.
Studio.
Yep.
Yeah, she's
On
so
Instagram.
talented. And I just got up, so I don't have my jewelry on, but I always have this ring that she made me, and this bracelet. I found some stones on the beach in Iceland. We went over, the Smokies went to Iceland with Green Sky Bluegrass, and we played the show over there. But anyway, I picked up these stones, and then for my birthday one year, she had made them into this really beautiful jewelry. And she's getting really good at it. It's all nice, and
That's awesome.
it's all smoothing out. It looks,
I love it.
it's all sterling silver and turquoise, and it's good quality stuff.
Yeah, so that's Andisa Studio on Instagram. But so you're recently engaged. You meet Dave Matthews this year. You play with DMB. You have dates coming up with Lukas. I mean, this just feels like an awesome chapter of your life. Is that how you're feeling?
Yeah, I'm trying not to not to think too much about it because I don't want to screw it up. I don't want to jinx it. It seems like, yeah, things are going really well right now. And I'm just trying to take it in stride and be grateful that things are good right now. It's been a long road and definitely some really awesome things sprinkled in there. But yeah, this summer has been the best summer of my life for a lot of different reasons. And my daughter just turned 12 and she's such a stellar kid. She's so sweet. And so yeah, everything's good right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jake, I want to take us back to the Gorge Weekend really quickly. And the Gorge and DMB have had this really long history. They performed there for the first time back in 1996. And actually this year, they played their 74th, 75th, and 76th show at the Gorge. And
That's
honestly, I don't really know that there has ever been a bigger moment for the fan base than what we all witnessed night 2.
Yeah.
So what's it like to be part of such a huge moment in DMB history? And if you could take us behind the scenes just a little bit, walk us through what that was like when you found out what was actually going to happen night 2.
Yeah. So I'll go back a little farther to when I got to the Gorge and I was setting up my gear. I plugged my fiddle in. Well, we got my fiddle plugged in, and I was gonna check it, and so I'm playing, and I got my ears in, and I'm listening. Everything sounds good, and then I heard it come on in the front of house, and I had just started to play the intro to Pig, like as the front of house comes on, and it was on for like 4 seconds, and it went off, and the crew guys were like, they're like, don't turn that back on because the fans, like I said, I am a fan, so I understand like what's going on out there, and the Pat, the monitor engineer, he was like, there's going to be a riot in the campgrounds if they hear you playing anything,
Not wrong.
Not wrong. No, we can hear everything out there, just so you know.
Yeah, I know. And so like I understand, the fandom, and that one of the coolest things about this whole deal, was in Montana after I played with Dave. My cousin Matt, who is a huge him and his wife are both massive DMB fans, and I called them after I called my parents to tell them that I was going to the Gorge. I called my cousin Matt and his wife Carrie, and because I knew that they would probably come, out of all of the people that I know, they would probably actually come, and they did. They showed up and they were there for that night, for night 2.
That's awesome.
And but Matt had sent me the link to the almanac, the DMB almanac, which I knew about, but I wasn't expecting to see my name on it, so like, that's cool. And just the way that fans keep record of everything, I knew when it was actually Sanjay that told me, he was like, guess what Dave's going to do tomorrow? He's like, and this was on night 1. They were still like, they didn't know if Dave was actually going to do it or not. Because like the crew sends him a bunch of songs, like the songs that he played the last time he was in a venue, and so anyway, Sanjay was like, I think he might do it. He's like, I think he might actually do it. And so I was just as excited as anybody else. And I almost wish that I didn't know what he was going to do, but it was cool getting, like I said earlier, like just getting to watch the fans kind of realize, and I was getting text messages like, are you serious? Like, this is insane. And oh, there she goes. But yeah, I was getting text messages and people were starting to figure it out. And yeah, it's legendary. It was just, it'll go down. I hope it goes down in rock and roll history as one of the most legendary weekends.
Absolutely.
And had I not even been there, I think it would have been just as legendary. I know it would have, and it was so cool to just witness that. And I mean, it's like being at the original, at the first Woodstock,
Yeah, right.
Right. So did you know you were going to play like Pig? Because you came on for Pig, right?
Well, yeah. So originally I was just on the last two songs, and I kind of I did the thing that you're not supposed to do. I might have suggested that I should play on Pig. Dave texted me and he's like, "Hey, I've got you on these two," and sent me the set list. And I think I said, okay, if you get a wild hair and you want to hear that Pig fiddle, then I know the part. And he just said, "Oh." So then I was like walking up to the stage, and everybody was like, "Hey, did you hear you're on the last 4 songs now?" I was like, "Okay, cool."
I'm so glad you texted him that. Oh my god.
No,
I think
really. We all are. I mean, there are people that have not heard Pig with a fiddle and that were crying around us. Like, you did actually a service of good to people
100%.
to hear that on Pig. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
We talked about in our Gorge recap, we talked about, obviously it was a super historic moment, super historic night, the biggest Gorge weekend DMB's ever had. But truly, and not saying this just because you're here, it would not have been the same without you being a part of it. It would not have been the same if we didn't get to hear those final few songs really the way that they were always intended to be heard. It just really made the whole experience so much more.
Well, thank you very much. Like I said earlier, I just really wanted to do the songs as best a service as I could. And I'm glad most everyone is happy. I had to stop looking at my phone, I had to stop looking at, because it just some of the stuff was not good for me, and as even some of the good stuff, I just had to stop reading the comments. And my daughter's like, "Dad, did you see this?" And I'm like, "No, I had to quit looking at it." But there's a couple folks, that I think that they would prefer to hear something a little different, and that's always funny to see. But I just really wanted to do the best I could and try to pay homage to Boyd and to those parts, and just be a part of the band. It was really cool, playing on spoon, because I was listening to Bela. I was just, I wanted to hear Bela play. And that's just as fun to me as playing a solo, is to just be part of the band. And that's why I love my job with Lukas, because, I'm playing a lot of guitar, and that's something that I haven't really done professionally. I've played my own gigs, but to be the guitar player in somebody's band is you gotta figure out where you belong, and in the song and in the groove, which part of the groove are you? And so yeah, I mean, I'm rambling a little bit, but
No,
No.
Not at all.
We love it. We love it.
Speaking of your guitar, we know you play a gazillion instruments. Can you tell us exactly which instruments you play?
Yeah, I mean, mostly I play fiddle and guitar. I play some others, but not. I play mandolin, and I play bass. But
Nice.
I love to sing, and I love to write songs.
Awesome.
And so yeah, I would say singing, fiddle, and guitar are my main instruments. And I was going to show you guys this guitar, because
Show us.
You already know I did another podcast yesterday.
Yep.
And I told them, I showed them my new electric. I'll show you my new acoustic that way.
Ooh, show us. Ooh.
I knew I needed to get a decent guitar for Lukas, because I hadn't had a professional guitar gig before. So I got this beautiful Collings.
It's
gorgeous.
OM2H. Nice. So it's actually an orchestral model. And when I reached out to them, the guys at Collings, I told them I was looking for something that sounded like a dreadnought. The dreadnought is bigger bodied guitar, I would say bluegrass guitar. I wanted something that sounded like a dreadnought but was smaller, just because I didn't want to have to stand up there with a massive guitar all night long. And they sent me this one, and it's the nicest instrument I've ever had.
Gorgeous.
And I've been working on something. See, whoever gets this one first gets a prize.
Okay.
I'll just play a little bit of it because I haven't mastered it yet, but
Oh,
Stream.
A stream.
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
anyway.
awesome.
Amazing.
Okay, good.
That's
Ooh,
awesome.
I want you to keep going.
I know.
You know-
It's gorgeous guitar, and you sounded gorgeous too.
Thanks. Yeah,
Well,
so that was one of the coolest moments of the whole weekend for me was after night 3, they had a little hang over by where like the band stays.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim was over there, and I asked him about that song, about Betrayal, and
I said stream. It was Betrayal.
Yeah.
You're right.
yeah, that's Betrayal. And I asked him about that too, and if he would maybe show me the right hand part when it gets really fast, And he's like, yeah, I'll show you that. He said, it's a true story. And I was like, well, are there? I was like, are there lyrics? And he was like, no, but you can figure it out, So then he started telling me the story of Betrayal without actually telling me what it was about. He was like, in the beginning it's like, and then at the end it's like, whoa, and he just like, I was like, yeah, I get it. And
Yep.
Totally.
so
This is
I
the most
sat-
Tim story ever.
I was gonna
yeah. I sat with Tim for a good 20-30 minutes, and we were like this close, just talking
Wow.
about music. And the first Dave Matthews music I ever heard was Dave and Tim live at Radio City. That was the first thing I ever heard. And so I didn't even know Dave had a band for a while. I thought it was just Dave and Tim. And so to get to meet Timmy was out of this world,
Wow.
Well, it's funny. I was going to ask you, related to the guitar, was Dave an influence on you early on in your guitar playing? But really, the question that I should have asked is, was Tim the influence? I love that story was incredible. I mean, that's like we love Tim so much, and that just fits right in from everything we know about him. So
Yeah.
that's
so Dave was an influence on me in a lot of ways, but as far as the guitar goes specifically, Dave plays these chords that I'll show you. Sorry, these picks. So I got the coolest present I've ever gotten in my life yesterday, and it was supposed to be a Father's Day gift, but she's 12 and she kept forgetting to bring it to my house. So she got me two different sets of picks. And here is one.
Aww.
And here's the other one.
Oh,
that's
that's
great.
so cute.
so good.
But Dave does like these 2-fingered chords.
Yep, that's in everything. That's Tripping Phillies, that's minor rave, that's everything. Yeah.
And I remember, when I was younger, like watching his hands. And so, like, I don't know if you know, like I played Gray Street like this. Dave plays it more like
This pinky, right?
right. So he's using his pinky and his, and I was just floored by his guitar playing once I started watching what he was doing, because it sounds like, oh, I could do that, and then you watch him do it and you're like, like Satellite, I can't even, like that's such a cool part in American Baby, and so yeah, I was definitely influenced by Dave's guitar. I was definitely influenced by Tim's guitar, but what I really fell in love with when I started listening to Dave was, the lyrics to the songs and his delivery and making you feel you know, the way that he makes you feel when he sings.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the big thing for me, you know. I think somebody asked me if Boyd was a big influence on me, and I would say that the thing about Dave and his band was the whole thing. You know, the whole thing was what I fell in love with, and just how they just build this massive song, and it just blasts you in the face. You know, and everybody's playing their part. But yeah, I mean, Dave's guitar is such a huge part of that. I didn't realize he uses these really thin picks,
Mm-hmm.
and I just couldn't believe, like, typically in my mind at least, you know, if you're going to play with a loud band on acoustic guitar, you would want a thick pick because it just literally makes your guitar louder, you know. But he has a really thin pick, and he wears it down to almost to a point, you know, and it makes that percussive, like that percussiveness come through. And so he has such a unique style. And obviously you guys all know this, but like what he's playing on guitar is so different than what he's singing. Like the melodies are completely different, and to play some of his songs and sing them at the same time is just impossible.
Right.
It really is. And one thing that we also saw this weekend at the Gorge, which we had talked about a bit, is Tim playing acoustic guitar, which is something that Tim hasn't done ever before. And we're on like week 2 of that. I know the tour's over, but week 2 of Tim on acoustic, and we've just been loving that. And you know, hearing obviously Dave coming through in the mix is great, and hearing Tim come through, but having that, you know, having Before These Crowded Streets as well, you know, played front to back with Tim on acoustic, and you and Bela, and it was just like the whole thing just all came together, and it was awesome.
Magic.
So magic, interstellar, some would say.
Yeah.
So did you ever think, Jake, that when you know, listening to Dave and Tim Radio City, that you're someday, like, was that ever a thought in your mind at that point? That I know you said you always wanted to play in a rock band, but was that anywhere near your mind when you first heard that record?
I mean, when I first heard it, no, you know, what I did think was like, you know, I would love to play with Dave and Tim. You know, I feel like a fiddle with Dave and Tim is like that would be the perfect gig, you know. But I mean, it's just like any other dream, you know. You think it's just a dream, and this was the first time that I hate to get too woo too heady about it, but you know, this was like a manifestation being realized, at least from my standpoint. That's just the way that it seems to me. I've put energy into being a musician, and I've always thought in the back of my mind about playing with Dave. And there have been times where, like, you know, I got to play with this dude who played a ton of Dave songs when I was like 18, 19 years old, you know. So like I learned all the songs so that I could play with that guy, you know. And there's just been tiny little moments in my life where, like, in the moment I was like, well, maybe this could lead to maybe me meeting Dave at some point. And
Wow.
so to answer your question, you know, initially when I heard Dave, you know, I didn't think that, it's not that I didn't think that I was going to be successful, but it was just so far away, you know. I was playing in my little garage band with my buddies at that time, you know, just like to play with Dave and Tim. That was like, not even really, I didn't think it was attainable at the time, you know.
Well, we got Farm Aid coming up, right? Dave and Tim are playing the show.
Yeah, and I don't, as far as I know, I'm not going to be there.
Well, you know, Dave might send you a text. You never know, right?
I think he should send a text and say, so Jake, Mexico next year, 2026. Come with me and Tim.
Yeah. Well, then that would be reason number 2 that I need to go on a diet, because I don't know if all you guys saw that. There's been some funny little memes floating around, you know, starting to make me notice my at-risk chin a little more.
Oh boy.
Don't listen to any of that.
Yeah.
So I guess it does beg the question. We talked right at the beginning about all the chanting, and you're talking about manifestation and vibes and buzz and all of that stuff. Where do you see this going in the future? This relationship with Dave and with the band, and I know I can speak for the podcast when I say, we would love it if we saw you again with DMB. But what does the future look like for you?
Yeah, I got to hang out with Dave a little bit the Monday after the Gorge Weekend, and we're just like hanging at the pool, which is also insane.
Right.
Oh man! All right, I'll show you guys something, but this is I don't know if I'm flexible enough. Hold on. It's starting to wear off, but Dave and I got our toenails painted together.
No,
Oh
you didn't.
my God. Stop it right
These are the
now.
stories we're
Yeah.
looking for.
Can you see that?
Oh,
Yes,
yes. Love it.
Together? That's funny.
Yeah, we were sitting by the pool, and it was one of his daughter's friends. She had two colors. She asked Dave if he wanted sparkle green or pink, and he said sparkle green. And so she painted his toenails, and then he's like, "That looks like puke." It's like, give me the pink, give me the pink. So then he got his toenails painted pink, and then I got mine painted pink, and it was
Wow.
it's just the craziest moment of my life. But
I mean, yeah.
Did you
But,
ever think?
yeah, then after we got our toenails painted, we were talking about just music. We were just talking about playing music, and I expressed to Dave that I would really love to stay in my band. I love playing with Lukas, and I love playing with those guys, and I really do feel so fortunate to be a part of that band, and he understands that. Dave and Lukas are buddies. Sorry. Dave and Lukas have known each other for a long time, and that was the first thing that Dave said to me. After I agreed to come to the Gorge, he's like, I'm not trying to steal you away from Lukas, and I appreciate that. It would be a really tough decision if Dave was like, hey, it's all or nothing, but
Right.
I think we're both just open to. There's a chance that we would play some more music together in the future, and who knows what that looks like. If I could create my own little fantasy world, I would just play for Lukas, and then I would get on my own tour bus and drive to Dave's tour.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I like your fantasy.
Well,
Yeah.
I like that little fantasy world.
I called Lukas's management was the first. I have so much respect for them, and when they hired me, actually Jeff Kramer is Lukas's manager. Him and his daughter Katie, they own a company called OK Management, and they manage Bob Dylan, and they manage Paul Simon and Lukas. And after Lukas called me, or I can't remember who called me first, but Jeff called me. And he said, Jake, we're excited to have you. And I just want to know, is this something that you would want to be a part of, for decades? He said, we're trying to build a family here, and I said, yeah, that's exactly what I want. I would be in Lukas's band for the rest of my life if I could. I don't know why, but I just feel like, I don't know if he feels this way. We hardly know each other, truly. Lukas and I, we're still getting to know each other, but it's almost brotherly, and I want to have his back, and I want to be his, I want to be standing over there next to him for a long time. So I called Lukas's management, and I said, hey, Dave wants me to come to the Gorge, and Katie was who I was talking to, and she said, great, have fun, don't be weird. So like they're in full support. I think at least they've told me they are of me kind of doing whatever I want as long as it doesn't interfere with Lucas's deal, and so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I just have to say though, the fans screaming "Sign him up!" like that's never happened before with that
Right.
amount of passion. So that must have felt
I
cool.
was
Like I
just gonna
know,
ask that.
yeah.
Like, what did that feel like?
Yeah, I
Did
mean,
you
I
hear
was
it?
just yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had just kind of like there's a video, you know, and I watched the video afterwards, and I'm like just giving everybody a high five, and it was like right as I got to the edge of the stage, and I don't know if anybody saw me, but I just like had my hands on my knees, and I was just laughing my ass off because it was just like, so surreal, you know, and it sounded like the Coliseum. I was just imagining like what it would be like if you were standing in the middle of the Coliseum as like, you know, a gladiator, you know, with your
Right.
sword in your hand and everyone's chanting, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, nothing like that has ever happened to me, you know.
Mm.
There actually, so are you familiar with Green Sky Bluegrass, the band?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're, you know, they were in the similar vein of bluegrass as the Little Smokies. Like they were kind of some of the big dogs, you know. And they actually wrote me a theme song, and so anytime I would ever sit in with them, they play my theme song when I'm coming on
Oh,
stage, you
that's
know.
awesome.
And they sing "Smoking Jake Simpson" is a "Smoking Jake Simpson," and so like I thought that was the coolest thing that was ever gonna happen to me on stage. You know, I got my own theme song, and then that happened, and yeah, I mean, how do you even? I don't know how to express what that felt like aside from just total surprise and yeah, it was hilarious. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
And I just want to say thanks to all the fans that, you know, that are listening. It truly means so much that everyone was so nice, and yeah, I'm right there with you. You know, it's just as crazy for me as it is for anybody else. So.
Well, one thing that I would ask if you're going to come back to DMB is that if it's on a part-time basis, that you tell us where you are going to be, because we will be there. As I said, not being at the Gorge last week, I had like the biggest FOMO of my life, and I need this. I need to take it all in live. And I think that you know, that would be a tough ticket if you're going to be in the house to get. So we're just so blown away, as we said, as we continue to say. This felt so different from, you know, from anybody else that has graced the stage with a fiddle, and it's special, and you know, we are just very excited about the future. So it's great to hear that you're also excited about it as well. And if we can't wait till 2026 to see you, what are you up to this fall?
Yeah, I'll be with Lukas. You know, we've got a big tour. Lukas just released an album, American Romance, and we toured this summer, and this will be our fall run. I believe it starts. Let me look at my little calendar here. I'm going to Telluride this weekend. We're playing Telluride Blues and Brews.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
And then I come back home. It's just a one-off show, and we go on tour. It looks like our first show is September 26th.
It's coming up.
That's in Dana Point, California. We're playing a festival there, Ohana Music Festival. And then we fly to Austin, and we play 3 nights in Austin, Texas, and then we take off from there. So, yeah, we go up through Dallas, Little Rock, and to the East Coast, and playing in Nashville, playing all over the place, playing in DC, Philly. Yeah, so check out Lukas's website if you want to come to a show. Where are you all from? Where's everybody from?
We're all Northeast. I'm in New Jersey.
We're in Pennsylvania, Sean and I.
And I'm in Boston.
All right.
I know.
Cool.
I'm looking at that Philadelphia date.
Yeah, I was just saying we'll be in Philly. So
yeah. Nice.
Come check us out. And yeah, we'll be out until like November 9th. They just announced some additional dates on the West Coast, and then I'm going to Mexico, baby. I'm going to the beach after that. for a couple
Nice.
weeks.
Awesome.
Well, you deserve it. You deserve it.
Exactly.
You've been a busy guy.
Thanks. Yeah, my fiance's parents just bought a house in Baja. So
Ooh.
Wow.
we're gonna go hide out down there for a little bit.
Awesome.
Nice. Maybe just
Uh,
stay through January 21st to the 24th, 2026.
Well, I'd have to get on a boat or something because
Yes, like the
Yeah.
other side,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
Well, Jake, thank you so much for joining us today. This was amazing, as has everything that you've done over the past few weeks for the D&B community. We were so happy to have you, and just thank you. And thanks for listening to the
Yeah.
Pod that Jane Likes, everybody. And we will talk to you soon.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Let's see.